Space. It's late. I couldn't start it how I wanted to start it, but shout out to everybody coming up in the space. Like I say tonight, we're gonna be talking about Republican Senator of South Carolina Tim Scott, the lone black Republican senator in the United States running for president. We're also going to talk about this Twitter poll I ran. It's been going on for a couple of days. Over 1,600 people have voted in it, and overwhelmingly, the people have they favored Donald Trump over DeSantis to go ahead and Joe Biden actually become president of the United States as well too. So I'm going to put that up in the jumbotron. We're just trying to kind of get the bearings underneath us because, like I said, we've been a little bit slow tonight with the little program because we've been having some issues on Twitter. But shout out to some of our people I see up in the space. I see Rera up in here, and I see A Boogie, Queen B, Charles, Goddess, Carlos. A number of you guys coming up in here. Go ahead and retweet it out. Like I said, we're a little bit slow on this, but all in all, it seems like things are finally working. Professor, what's up, man? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you good, brother. I heard DJ pretty good, and I think he said he had an update or something.
Yeah, he said he had an update.
Yeah, he's back up here. I see him right there. And shout out to everybody in the space. Good to see everybody up in here. And by the way, Toto, if you haven't seen this funny video that's going around, because you're talking about Trump tonight, George Lopez was seen on video pissing on Trump's star walker to fame, or whatever you call it, whatever they call it out there in Hollywood. He was out there pissing on him, man. Have you seen that video?
Yeah, matter of fact, I saw that video right before I came into the space. He was pissing on his Walker, Walker, his what was it? The Walker fame, Walker Star, Hollywood, Walker Star, whatever. But yeah, I saw him taking
Star fame or Walker fame or something.
Yeah, I saw him taking a leak on the man thing. Like I say, I'm no Trump fan or whatever. I'm surprised, that George Lopez. Now I want to see what kind of feedback, blowback he gonna get from that too. But yeah, he was pissing on the Walk of Fame out there. So not a Trump fan, but I'm not sure you need to go ahead and take it out and whiz in public like that. So but hey, we'll see exactly what becomes of that. I don't think he's done that much to him that he had to go ahead and do that. But yeah, that was pretty interesting to say the least on seeing that as well too. So, like I say, shout out to everybody.
I'm gonna say this right quick too. By the way, Tim Scott's name, y'all, and I want everybody to understand, his name is not Tim Scott. I found out that his name is actually Senator Coon Scott. Okay, just want to correct Mr. Tarter on that. Senator Coon Scott.
Well, he has a lot of people. He has a significant amount of people in South Carolina that back him. I'm not exactly sure how. What's the actual number? I ain't gonna just call a man a coon, even though I don't disagree. I disagree with his politics, but a number of people do call him that. So it is what it is. I can't stop people from calling somebody something like that. But hey, I'm not a fan of Tim Scott. Never have been. I don't think he has any realistic shot at even winning. He's not going to do anything in the primary, but who knows? Tim Scott could be looking to further himself because hey, if he can put out a halfway decent performance, you may have somebody like Trump or DeSantis, whoever comes out, may say, well, hey, we can use a black candidate here on the Republican side as a running mate, and that may be a way for us to secure some more black votes as well too. So you never know what kind of agenda, what kind of plot is being put out there as well too. So they can say, well, hey, this can be our black candidate. This could be our black vice presidential candidate right here to go ahead and because you're going to have a number of black people that's going to probably still vote Democrat, but you're going to have not an incredible amount, but I believe you're going to have a sizable amount that's going to actually vote Republican as well too. So be interested to see how many black people actually vote Republican like they did back in 2020. I want to go ahead real quick, guys, and just touch up on this article from Black Enterprise. I put it up in the Jumbotron as well, too. Like I said, we've been delayed with some connection issues here on Twitter, but the space is up. And for those that's in the space, y'all go ahead and tweet out the space. But let me go ahead and touch up on this real quick from Black Enterprise. Hopefully the space won't crash and whatnot, because like I said, we have been having some issues. So let me check the connection issue real quick before I go and try to read it, because I didn't print it up today. So I'm going to actually go to the actual site. But hopefully we won't have any major issues, guys, because like I say, today the space has been a little bit been really, really shaky to say the least. So I'm trying to go ahead. Professor, let me know if you can hear me real quick before I start reading.
Yeah, you good, bro. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. Up in the Jumbotron, guys, is the actual article. Tim Scott, lone black Republican and U.S. Senator run for president. Republican U.S. Senator Tim Scott has entered the 2024 presidential race, according to a filing with the U.S. election regulator on Friday, and what amounts to be a long shot bet that a message of unity and optimism can still appeal in a party where many voters are hungry for a bare knuckle fight. The impoverished child of a single mother and the only black Republican in the U.S. Senate, Scott often points to his personal story as proof that America remains a land of promise. On the campaign trail, his sunny disposition presents a major contrast with other declared and prospective candidates, including former President Donald Trump and former Governor Ron DeSantis, who have portrayed the U.S. as a declining nation in need of rescuing from a corrupt leftist elite. As a black conservative, Scott is a rarity in a country where politics are sharply divided along racial lines. Some 92% of black voters backed Democrat Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election, while 55% of white voters backed Trump. Scott often called out Trump when he was president for making racially insensitive comments and blocked several of his judicial nominees for that reason as well. At the same time, the South Carolina senator has accused the Democrats of exploiting racial tensions for partisan gain. While Scott has described being the victim of racial prejudice, he has repeatedly insisted that America is not a racist country. Scott enters the race with his work cut out for him. Only about 2% of Republicans plan to vote for him in the primary, according to polling averages, and his national name recognition remains low. Over half of Republicans plan to vote for Trump, and about a fifth favor DeSantis, who is expected to jump into the race in the coming days. Of course, DeSantis, this article is a couple days old. He's already jumped into the race. Still, Scott's chances may be stronger than they appear on paper. Okay, he is a well-known and light in his state of South Carolina, which plays a crucial role in the Republican nominating contest, as it is the only third state to cast its ballots. Scott also has a strong rapport with donors. Larry Ellison, the co-founder of Oracle, has been a consistent backer and is planning to keep his weight behind the senator for the foreseeable future, according to people close to both men. Andy Sieben, a metals owner and Republican donor, told Reuters earlier this month he was switching his allegiance from Scott to DeSantis amid concerns about DeSantis' electability. While Scott has a solidly conservative voting record in the Senate, he has attempted to portray himself as the unusual compassionate. He says his struggle in school until the owner of a fast food restaurant gave him his first job at 13 and encouraged him to work and study before entering politics. Scott worked in insurance and real estate. Among the policies he supported are the creation of opportunity zones to boost blighted communities and a tax credit program which helps low-income families with children. In 2020, he was tapped by Republican leaders to develop police reform legislation after several high-profile police killings of Black people spurred nationwide protests. However, bipartisan talks collapsed the following year after Democrats said his proposals were inadequate, and he said they were more interested in scoring political points than reaching a compromise. On the stump, Scott has shied away from discussing police reform in recent months, and many Republican voters are hostile to the efforts to increase oversight over law enforcement. Scott's interest into the race puts him in direct competition with Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, who launched her campaign in February. Both South Carolina natives are appealing to a similar pool of donors and elected officials for support, and both candidates likely need to win their home state in order to have a shot at securing the nomination. All righty. So, like I said, I'm glad with the space being as uneasy as it was, that it was actually still, I was able to go ahead and read that and get that in as well, too. So, like I say, go ahead, Professor. You got it. And also, y'all check up in the Jumbotron too, because if you have not voted in that poll, I want you guys that's in the space to go ahead and vote on that poll about who you think is going to win the 2024 election. Go ahead and retweet that out as well too. Currently, let me check it out. Currently, let's see how many people we got that's up in that actual poll so far. Currently, we have 1,615 people that have voted in the poll. It's 1 day left, 3 hours left. Joe Biden has 7% of the poll. Donald Trump has 67%. Ron DeSantis has 7%, and 18% said they're not sure. Now, this is This is a Twitter poll, so this is not. We're not just going to say that right now. I don't know who's going to win the 2024 election, but I did kind of just want to get a grasp and see. And this has been a pretty this poll has reached a pretty decent amount of people. So go ahead, if you get a chance, or just go ahead and click up there and actually go ahead and vote on it as well too. What's up, Professor? You got it.
Yeah, thank you, Newstoter, and peace, power, reparation to everybody in the space tonight. I'm just going to say this about brother Coon Scott, or Blue Gum Scott, or Big Lip Scott, whatever you want to call this Negro. He has no chance at all. He would be up there looking like a buffoon, as he always does. And that's basically what he's going to be. He's going to be a minstrel show. But hey, shout out to Blue Gum Scott, Coon Scott, whatever you prefer to call him, as he tries to make history. He's caping for his brother Lindsey Graham. That's what he calls him. So I'm pretty sure that's what he'll be doing. He'll be kissing Lindsey Graham's ass over there. So I'm gonna land my plane right there, family. I just want to get that in. Shout out to Blue Gum Scott or Coon Scott, whatever you want to call him,
family. All right. Like I said, he has some. Scott has some donors and stuff backing him. 2%. Like I say, to me, I see this as a more of a political play to position himself at with a good turning and stuff like that, a good turning out of voters and stuff like that. That he could be beneficiary as being perhaps that token black person to put on the actual ticket. You've never had a black vice presidential candidate on the Republican ticket. So, this could make history right here. They could say, well, it's just not Democrats. It also have black people running and stuff. So this could be a way. Scott is very conservative. He has very conservative views. He said that he's been a victim of prejudice and racism, but that America is not a prejudice or racist country. So, I don't know exactly how you can be a victim of it and the country not be racist or prejudiced in itself, but you're not going to, but at the same time, I believe Joe Biden said the same thing. And I'm not sure if Kamala Harris also said that, America's not a racist or prejudiced country as well, too. So rarely are you going to get any white person in politics to sit up here and say, you're not going to get most black people that's really serious trying to actually trying to further their career. You're not going to hear most black people say, well, I think America, for all the good it has, and it is still a racist country, because they feel like that would be political suicide. So they're not going to get up here and say, hey, the country's racist. I don't care how much is done and this and that. It's a racist country, and that's how I feel. So you're going to pretty much always get black people and to sidestep that question. Tim Scott, like you say, Professor, don't have a snowball chance in hell. I was surprised to see him put his name out there, but then I wasn't so much surprised because who you had a few years ago? Yeah, Herman Cain. We had Herman Cain. He put his name out there, of course. And who else? It was Herman Cain. And who else? Who was the other black cat that put their name out there too? Damn, I can't remember right now. Yeah, Herman Cain. And we had somebody else too on the Republican side. Queen
Ben
B.
Carson.
Oh, Ben Carson. Go ahead, Queen B.
Coon Carson. Dr. Coon Carson, everybody. Remember, that's his name. Dr. Coon Carson.
Go ahead, Queen B. You got it.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you for.
You sound like you break, Professor. You got your mic muted, Professor. Hold on, real quick, Queen B. Professor, your mic muted.
Yeah, my mic's muted.
Okay, Queen B, you could be breaking up, but try again.
Nah, that's the Queen right there. Your phone shaky, Queen. You might have to drop down and come back up. Drop down and come back up, Queen.
All right.
Yeah, because she started off pretty clear, and then we kind of started hearing that back in Trenton Makes, what's going on? Trenton Makes is on YouTube. He said that she said America's not a racist country. He's speaking of Kamala Harris, and another black person he did mention that tried to run for president, of course, was Larry Elder. We knew that wasn't going nowhere either. Larry be wilding on Twitter, man. If you saw the little MD 2020 thing, he had this Joker. He's wild here. Queen B, let's go ahead and see if we can hear you now.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Well, thank you for giving me an opportunity to contribute to the discussion tonight. Yeah, so Tim Scott for president. This is not surprising to me because I really feel like, in my opinion, again, this to me seems like the Republicans just trying to go on the defense about, they've been called racist for a very long time now. And this is just, again, like we already mentioned, Herman Cain, Dr. Carson. I think Larry Elder threw his hat in the race a couple of weeks ago also. And so they're trying their best to diversify without diversifying, right? Because they use all this language about a colorblind society and we're all American. I don't see your color. I just see an American. They're getting into all that. So in order for Tim Scott, that is, to garner any support from the Republican donors, he's going to have to go along with their agenda. So it seems like he's raised about $22 million so far. So those have got to be some pretty heavy-hitting donors. But it's too bad that he is going to have to go along with the agenda, continue the benign neglect, of Black people. He fits the mold just perfect for them because he's going to continue with this message of opportunity, not oppression. This whole thing about his hardship or growing up, what he's saying, cotton to Congress or whatever. So he wants to use a little bit of, some sort of context to slavery and, going back to some Black historical context, but then he don't want to run on any kind of Black agenda. So I know earlier today, Sunny Johnson had a space about this, and she was talking about the disappointment in him because, he's trying to, use this cotton to Congress or look how far I've come. My grandfather couldn't read. All of these things that he says, but look at where I am. So he's running on individualism and not running on a Black agenda because he has not done anything to uplift the community that he said was so bad that he made it through. So it's going to be interesting seeing, how far he gets in this primary. Does seem like, he has some donors behind him, but then, DeSantis hasn't gotten in the race yet. But I do believe he might be a formidable competitor for DeSantis because for the simple fact that the Republicans want to at least be able to say now that they are diversifying their party, but they just won't let them, run on a Black agenda or even say that they're Black or whatever, or, this whole thing about we're just American, I'm going to run on policies for everybody, that kind of thing. So they're going to have a tight leash around him, and I hate to talk in that context, but I don't know what else to say. If you can't be yourself, if you have to be stifled, if you are a Black person and you can't do anything for your Black community or even mention it, that's a problem. So even if he were to, they say that he, I know Felicia talks about that's her ticket, him running with Trump as the VP. And I know there's some Republicans that are predicting this. Still, I don't get my hopes up. If he's running on that Republican platform, it's going to be that same thing. Well, I'm an American, look how far I've come, from cotton to Congress. I just worked hard and pulled myself up by my bootstraps, that's other kind of stuff. So anyway, I'll stop there. I'll land for now. Thank you.
You're welcome. I I don't think he's any competition for DeSantis personally either. DeSantis, whether he beats Trump or not, I think DeSantis does have a real possibility of at least, taking a state like Florida where he's the governor from. I don't think Tim Scott can win South Carolina, period. Even though he's the black senator from South Carolina, I don't think he has a realistic shot at actually taking South Carolina. I believe either Trump or DeSantis will come in there and they'll still take his home state. So in that aspect, I think that he can, well, anytime you have a candidate like him or Nikki Haley, they can come in there and they can steal a few points from the front runners. And I think, they can make things closer and more interesting between possibly Trump and DeSantis. But I don't think, I just personally don't believe that he can actually do that. I think the real threat, and I'm going to ask you that too, Queen B, I think the real threat for Trump is DeSantis at this point in time. Now, I see people saying, in that poll, in the poll that I put in the Jumbotron, I put, the names about who's going to win the 2024 presidential election. I put Trump's name in there. I put DeSantis' name in there. I put Joe Biden because, they're leaders. But some people started putting RFK Jr. up in there as well, too. They feel like he has a shot. How big a shot? I don't know. But you had, some people left comments. They're like, well, RFK Jr. But in your opinion, Queen, because like I said, even though that poll has over 1,600 people, I find it hard to believe that, 67% of people have Donald Trump and only 7% of the people got DeSantis, I believe, and 7% got Joe Biden, 18% is unsure. So, with any poll, there's always going to be a margin for error. This is a Twitter poll as well, too. So, 1,600 people, that is a decent amount of people to actually go ahead and actually to vote in that poll. But just based off of, in your personal opinion, who would you favor for the 2024 presidential election between the people that's just in that poll? Anybody you think that may be a long shot of possibly winning?
So I believe I voted in your poll because did your poll say who do we favor or who do we think would win?
It's up in the who will win the 2024.
Okay, yeah, and so I'm going with Trump on that one. I think the other ones would be probably, again, they're not going to get those percentages. If they get a large enough percentages and they're trying to win certain states, they might ask them or get them to be vice VPs or something like that. But the thing about it is that Trump is going to have the advantage as long as these people keep jumping in the race, So something's going to have to happen with Trump, which I know there's still a lot of he still has some legal problems there that might take him out. But as long as he continues to go on, and even with DeSantis getting in there, as long you still got you got Hutchinson in there. I mean, I don't know if these people are going to get over 1 or 2%, but if you get some more people in there, that's just going to make it more favorable for Trump because that's splitting the votes. So I still think he is truly the front runner. I don't know. You have to tell me about Florida because, I'm not really a fan of DeSantis, but I would certainly take him over Joe Biden. If it came down to the two of them, I personally can't take any more of Biden. So, I'd have to go with DeSantis, but I think either way, it's going to be either one of them. I think, of course, the chances of DeSantis are going to be greater if Trump continues to experience these legal challenges.
Okay, thank you. I think Florida's going to be close between Trump and DeSantis. And you're right, a lot of Trump's legal issues you have to worry about, and you got to wonder how much is coming down the pike as well too. It seems like every time something happens, and then there's something else, and at the same time, some of this stuff that they're hitting Trump with, it doesn't seem to really knock him off his perch. Like he's still up there. You thought the actual in the silver suit, where they was basically saying that, hey, you sexually assaulted somebody, you're responsible, you're liable. That hey, this would knock him down or whatever. And it's like, no, it hasn't dusted him up at one bit. It hadn't hurt him one iota. The whole issue about the paying the woman and the former stripper and this and that and going to court for that. Nothing at this point in time really seems to really deter like the people that strongly support Trump. They seem to even support him even more. I would think that
Right.
I would think that a actual Florida is the center state, but that's a state. The state it'd be razor close between him and Trump, and I may favor the DeSantis, but I at the same time Trump has won Florida before, so I don't know that's kind of hard to say now. If you're talking about between DeSantis and Biden, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a DeSantis fan at all. I'm not a Biden fan either. So that's one that I wouldn't vote either way. DeSantis to me is a wannabe Trump, and in some senses he's more dangerous than Donald Trump because he's so readily to go out there and show everybody that hey, I'm just like Donald Trump, except I'm a smarter form of him. He's the type that'll go ahead and really put in a lot of legislation, really, I feel in my mindset to hurt black people. So in that case, he's like a Joe Biden. Joe Biden, as he's got older, he's done his damage when he was a young man, when he was in Congress, and when he's a senator and everything. When he did all his damage then. So now he's just like this little silver-haired old man, and now he's friends of the Negro and all this other nonsense. But his damage came years and years and years and years, while you got this other fool that wants to go up here and he wants to set the tone and he wants to show you how exactly he's really looking to drum up that support from the mid-level races in this country as much as possible. He really wants to show what it is. So in that sense, DeSantis really, I may take Trump, and I wouldn't vote for him either. Be honest, I can't cast a vote for all three of any of these guys. I can't. Trump, I don't support him. Biden, I don't support. And DeSantis, I damn sure being here in Florida don't support. So I just, that would be something that'd be a fill-in for me come 2024. I would vote on.
Well, I would have to take. I personally would have to go with, if it came down to Biden and DeSantis, I'd have to go with DeSantis for that border. I believe he would do something about closing that border. As long as Biden is president, we are going to have that issue with that border. I can't take it. I cannot take it. So if nothing else, I will have him close that border. But the other thing that I would think about as well as, the Democrats, I think their data tells them that Biden would beat Trump or something. I don't know. I've seen different polls, in which case, the Democrats play those kind of games where they would actually donate money to Trump or even try to help him get the nomination, for the simple fact that they believe that Biden could beat him. So we have to watch out for those kind of games too, because they do that kind of stuff. So, if they really, like, for example, these legal problems he's having, they may not do anything about it. They may just kind of let him slide on through, get the nomination because they believe that they can beat him.
Thank you, Queen Bee. I'm gonna just be honest. Personally, I don't care who's in that White House. You've had Democrats, you've had Republicans, presidents. You've had they've had the House and the Senate on their side, and neither one of these parties, and even when Republicans have controlled the House and the Senate, they haven't just totally closed that border down. They've always allowed illegals to sneak into this country, and I believe they always will. I think one group wants them as a voting block for them, while the other one wants them as cheap labor. So I think it's just a game. Even when these Republicans.
Sure.
Yeah, when these Republican senators sit up here and they start sending these people back to their to start sending them up here to the White House and send them to Kamala Harris' house instead of taking them and sending them back to their countries. To me, it's just it's just one finesse, really, to be honest. So I don't put much stock in either one of them completely shutting down that border. If you want to be totally honest.
Yeah, I think that DeSantis would do that. I believe he would because if he's holding them accountable, if he only wants to be in office for 4 years, he's going to have to. In other words, he's going to be a one-term president.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they may make something. They may do some things at the border, but I don't believe, like I say, they've never totally shut down illegal immigration in this country, and they have all the ability to. So, like I say, no matter who's in the White House, they've never totally stopped illegal immigration. And I don't want to hear that they don't have the manpower and they don't have this and they don't have that. They got plenty of people at the border to sit there, and they had a sophistication to go ahead and shut this stuff down totally if they really wanted to. But I don't believe they really want to shut it down totally. Either side. Wilson, I know you had your hand up. Let me give a shout out real quick to Trenton Makes. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Wilson, I saw you came up here and you had your hand up. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, hi. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. Now, when you're talking about what we're possibly facing to vote. I mean, I would rather deal with someone who I know doesn't like me than someone who pretends to like me and then stab me in the back. And that's how I see this Biden administration. When I look at the numbers so far, you're looking at $76 billion that the Biden administration has given Ukraine, and it's not over yet. 76 billion. And its 34th installment of military weaponry. The last one was in March, in the amount of 350 million. But this man says nothing about anything regarding Black Americans. The George Floyd anti-lynching bill was on his desk. Nothing. He keeps saying he's looking to Congress. He's encouraging Congress to sign it. We've got a Democratic Congress, and they haven't signed it. The Democrats have not signed the George Floyd bill. And so that and that only tells me where the Democratic Party is as far as it goes with Black people. And if I am faced with Biden or Trump or Biden and DeSantis, I will not be voting for Biden. I will be voting for the other side as a punishment in my own small way of lying to Black people, begging for our votes, and then doing nothing when you get it. And then poo-pooing us and putting other racial groups ahead of us. And that's how I feel. That one potential president may be more dangerous than the other. They're all dangerous, but we've survived. But I want to give the Democrats the punishment that they deserve. They don't deserve anybody's votes because it's been a shit show from day one when he walked inside that administration and down to all of our Black Democrats that are in that office. They are not doing a damn thing either. Again, the George Floyd bill has not been signed, and they could have signed it. Remember, the first 65 days of the Biden-Harris administration, there was an anti-Asian hate bill to be a protected class. Remember that, the first 65 days. So the Democratic Congress, they can do it, but they choose not to. Why? Because Biden and everybody else know that Black American pain, despair, marginalization is big profit, big money in this country. And I want to land with that.
And I agree with what you're saying, Wilson, too. Like, I can definitely get what you're saying about not voting Democrat. And I got a solution to that either. I mean, I just won't vote for either one of them, period. That hurts the Democrats. And also at the same time, I'm not giving support to the Republican nominees that they have up there as well, too. So, if there was a Republican nominee up there that I felt that was worth anything, I wouldn't have a problem supporting them at this point in time, because now I'm beyond the whole vote party type crap. I'm done with that. I'm no longer voting based on party anymore. It's the candidate, and neither candidate, Trump nor DeSantis, does anything. So as much as I want to stick it to the Democrats and I dislike Joe Biden, I just simply won't vote Democrat like I did in the last election. I didn't vote for Biden and I didn't vote for Trump. I just filled in the actual and just wrote in the name. So I'll do that. I have no issue doing that same thing again. And if enough Black people went ahead, and like I say, even if you can stick it to the Democrats by voting Republican, but you can also stick it to the Democrats simply by not voting for them. Just simply filling in. That hurts them just as well too. Not having a vote, whether it's casted for a Republican or it's not casted for them at all, it still hurts them either way. So that's pretty much how I'm rolling. I live here in Florida. I'll be damned if I'm voting for Ron DeSantis, period. Ron DeSantis, I wouldn't vote for Ron DeSantis for nothing on earth. So I'm not voting for him. I'm sure as hell not voting for Joe Biden, and I'm not voting for Donald Trump either. So I just, I'll go ahead and do what I did in 2020. I'll write the name of a person in there, and I'll let that be that. But if either one of those guys, Trump or DeSantis, was up there against Biden, please, I'll just go ahead and have to just write in a name in there. I'm not voting for either one of those. And I'm most certainly, because I live here in Florida and I see the wannabe, how dangerous Ron DeSantis is. I know exactly what Ron DeSantis, I've seen this fool sit up here and wipe out Black districts, voting districts. Simply, you already got a redneck state here in Florida, and that wasn't good enough. You only got 7 out of 67 counties, maybe 7 or 8 of them actually, what you even consider a blue county. This fool goes up here and starts gerrymandering entire voting districts and stuff, pushing black people up out of there. So no, I'll be damned if I'm finna vote for Ron DeSantis. Straight up.
The thing is that the Democrats have no.
Well, so I understand. I respect what you're saying, sister, but I'm not personally voting for no Ron DeSantis. Period.
No. I get that, but keep in mind that the Democratic Party have allowed this whole redlining and redistricting a lot. They've stood by the sideline and kept quiet about it. No action, no pushing, no nothing. They talked about it. No real fighting about it. That they took the when they go low, we go high bullshit, and now they're complaining about it when they could have done something about it years ago, and they didn't. I do think that a lot of them are by design, man. I think the Democratic Party is the most dangerous to black people, and they've been proving it the last 10, 15 years. And they are pushing everybody else's race and group. Look, you have trans women trying to infringe on women's rights. And you best goddamn believe that if they do infiltrate that black women's rights will take a backseat to trans women's rights. And I believe that. There's a lot of things that we can say, but at the end of the day, I'm not a big fan of either. But there are certain things that the Republican Party will squash based on solely on their racism that black people want to. And I just feel that's my position. But I respect everybody's position. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And yeah, like I said, I agree with what you're saying, and I don't have an issue if somebody wants to vote Republican, fine, go ahead and vote Republican. I think also another option of sticking it to them is not only voting Republican, but simply saying, hey, I'm not going to vote for you, period. I'm not going to even cast a vote. And I did that a lot in the 2020 elections. I saw a bunch of Democratic names, and I just went right past them. I didn't vote for Republican necessarily, but I just went right past them. So, and you're right about that. Democrats, they get 90% of the black votes, yet they act like they can't do anything whatsoever for black people. So I can understand the frustration of black people saying, hey, I'm going to vote for Republican. At the same time, I think both of these parties play on the emotion that, hey, we couldn't do this or this one, we couldn't do that. It's always both of them sitting up here telling they couldn't do something for black people because the other one wouldn't let them. It was always, first thing you had a Republican mouth, the Democrats was the party of slavery. Like, yeah, you sat up there and you participated with it as well, too. What are you talking about? You sat right there along with them. So you weren't tied in the basement, bound and gagged in your hands, and you couldn't do anything. And then they just forced you or whatever. You sat right up there. When the country started becoming with the Jim Crow and everything, it was those Democrats and stuff. Like, yeah, you sat right up there and you went along with it as well, too. Like, you wasn't just like some child that was helpless. Like, you could have done something, but you did. You decided to, hey, it ain't my problem. So you went right along with that mess and that nonsense. And you're right. Democrats, they keep pushing certain things and stuff like that Republicans will go ahead and squash. At the same time, Republicans seem to have a real issue saying that, hey, the country has a race problem. Like they it's something like deep inside them that they won't admit. They have a hard time sitting up there. The Democrats, they'll sit up there and then they'll pretend that they're going to do something and they're not going to do anything. So I agree with you on that. The Republicans don't even pretend. They sit up there and, really in a race. Well, okay, there is some cases of racism in the country, but no, man, it ain't no some cases. Every time you turn around, it's hardcore data coming out showing you that, hey, there's some serious issues in this country in terms of the treatment of black people and even other groups as well, too, but mainly black people that you guys just continue to ignore whatever. So it's definitely one of those type of issues right there. Like I said, I don't have a problem with anybody that wants to go ahead. If you feel like voting Republican is a thing for you, I say fine. If some of our people say they're going to withhold their vote too, I'm not against that either personally. I know people say, well, you shouldn't. Yeah, you can still vote in these national elections and just, you don't have to vote in the presidential election, or you could just fill it in or whatever. But there's a number of things in your state, your county, your area that, that you need to go ahead and look at what directly impacts you as well too. But in terms of the actual presidential candidates, like I said, that I put up in that actual poll, and if you guys get a chance, go ahead. The poll is the first one on the right-hand side. Go ahead and cast a vote. Actually, it's the second on the right-hand side. I'm sorry. It's the second on the right-hand side. Who will win the 2024 presidential election? We already got over 1,600 people that voted. Go ahead and tweet that out as well, too. And let me go ahead and get to you, Queen Bee, but let me go ahead and get to Trance is beautiful. Trance, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello.
Hi guys, I just want to say hi and thank you for letting me talk. And I think you're just sitting back listening. And I think it was Miss Wellsing who said something about the whole George Floyd Assistant Policing Act. And yes, it's very unfortunate that that did not get passed. And but we should also acknowledge that a lot of the people who blocked that bill were actually the Republicans, especially what's his name? Senator Tim Scott, the same one who denied that there's racism in America, and so we have to take that into take note of that. So, and then also, Democrats did not have the House, the Senate, and the presidency last session. In all fairness, because they did have the House, yes, they did have the presidency, but unfortunately, they did not have the Senate because I'm sure you know Kristen Sinema and what's his name, Joe Manchin, and they claimed to be Democrats, but they were not actually Democrats. And finally, this session, Sinema finally came out, and she was like finally independent, and she was playing for the Republicans the whole time anyway. So. Yeah, so I just want to say that, and and also it wasn't just that couldn't get passed. In the House, I'm sure you know the Equality Act got passed in the House. The what else got passed? The gun control got passed. Washington D.C. statehood got passed. $15 minimum wage got passed, and the Freedom Promise Act got passed. The Farm Workers Modernization Act got passed as well. So, and even the whole Build Back Better got passed, but got blocked by the House. All of that got blocked by the House. That's why we're all in the mess that we're in, like, regardless. Like, yeah, Black people, Latino people, Asian people, white people, so everybody pretty much. So women, LGBT, so yeah, all marginalized minority groups. Then, yeah, just to say that. And thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All righty. I'm sure we'll have a few hands come up after that as well too. Those black farmers, they still waiting on their money, so they still trying to get that money from the whole because it was something, a lawsuit strictly for them. And then you start having white folks, and you started having Hispanics started complaining that they were being left out. So something that historically black farmers had been treated like crap in this country and just left for dead. And then everybody else complained, well, you can't just do anything for the blacks. And all of a sudden, this thing is still being drugged out, and other people got put into something that really had not anything to do with them whatsoever. So, we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and kick it to the speakers. Queen B, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback off of something Wilson said about the Democrats. I agree with you, sis, on that. I mean, they are dangerous. And I think, even if we don't look at it on a national level, because I know we tend to focus on, those national seats and the presidency, congressional seats and that sort of thing. But I think we really need to be tuned in on the local level as well this time. So if nothing else, Newstoter, I hope you get out there about your local elections because, again, with these illegal immigrants coming in here, like places like Washington, D.C., you have these cities, New York and stuff, that are wanting to give these people voting rights. So, and those are things that need to be, I should say, those things need to be handled on a local level. And that's when it's important for us to really be engaged to make sure that we don't have city council members and all of those state senators and whatnot out there voting to give these people voting rights. Because I do believe, and again, I'm saying this is my opinion, that they are weaponizing these people. And I don't think we have a lot of time to say, I don't think we have a lot of time. I don't think we have a lot of leverage. I think we're going to continue to lose it if we sit back and just say, oh, we'll just won't go out and do anything, because they're going to allow these people to come in and vote. And before you know it, they're not going to need us. And I believe we're only just a couple of election cycles away from that happening. So I think we need to really be diligent and keep our eye on the ball when it comes to our local cities, townships, and because that's where I think they're going to be able to to infiltrate or come in, and before you know it, they're giving these people voting rights, or even making some of our cities sanctuary cities too. So I just don't think that's too far fetched. So I think there's some interest there on a local level, even if we know on at the federal level, especially for a president. Oh crap, neither one of these parties really are going to do anything. But I really think we need to be engaged when it comes to the local politics and what's happening in our backyards, in our schools, in our neighborhoods. Because I know one thing, I just have a hard time with what I'm seeing going on where I live in northern Kentucky. I mean, the demographic have changed drastically over the last year. And you cannot tell me that all of these manufacturing jobs up here cannot be filled by youth, 18 through age 24. Cincinnati's only 12 miles north of me. You can't tell me that there aren't any youth up in Cincinnati, Black youth, that don't want these jobs. So I just think we really need to be engaged on that. And I'll land. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, I'm going to say the fourth on the right hand side, we have the YouTube channel. Please go ahead while the space is on and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We were able to get a number of people to subscribe last week. So let's see with every space if we can get a couple people to at least go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is the fourth on the right hand side. Not only subscribe to it, but if you've already subscribed, go ahead and retweet that actual link out there, guys. Go ahead and retweet the actual link out there as well, too. For those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, that is $Newstoter, Newstoter. As always, during the Twitter Spaces, we're trying to collect at least $5 in donations. So once again, $Newstoter. For those that do not have the actual Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Let me go ahead, DJ. Go ahead, you got it.
Hey, let Twin go. Go. What's up, Twin? Go ahead.
Hi, Twin. Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on what Queen Bee is saying. It's really about Newstoter being strategically intelligent here and not emotionally intelligent. Because I think a big part of Black people's voting problem has been emotion. We vote by emotion. We vote by symbolism. And they know that. It's been more prevalent now than ever before that they go into our Black churches once every 4 years. They walk across Pettus Bridge with all the Boule Negroes. They jump up and down at different, events related to Black American anything once every 4 years. And then they move on thinking they've got the Black vote in the bag. And this is the lesson that I want to teach them, that they don't. And that is a brand new type of Black voters out here. Queen Bee said something that I meant to say and will say it again. We are an election or two away from being enveloped by Hispanic voters. If we let Biden and Harris back in, they are going to greenlight all illegal immigrants to be able to vote. Folks, please remember that a lot of them come through here. They come across this border illegally, already established with anti-Black American hate. They hate you. I know what it's going to look like getting DeSantis or Trump in office. I know. But the one thing I'm 1,000% certain about, they will not allow those illegals to be able to vote. They won't allow it. And as far as this flood of this unskilled, uneducated illegals coming here who think they're better than Black people, who come from countries where they don't have dry shit in their ass, and they know coming to the greatest country in the world, as soon as they cross that border with their illegal ass, they able to check white instead of Hispanic, and they are able to get all of the programs of Office of New America. If you're looking for reparation, there it is, right there. And like what's going on in Chicago, be gifted with $7,000 a month. I'm sorry. If I'm having to face voting for Biden or for anybody else on the Republican ticket, I'm voting for that person on the Republican ticket, because at least quelling the number of Hispanic voters, number one, quelling them coming across this border, number two, is moving the reparations agenda forward. And I'm voting special interest for my people. And if I have to vote Republican for the first time in my life, I will do it. I don't give a goddamn. Ain't nothing going to be better on either side, but there's nothing worse than what's the saying? A wolf in sheep's clothing. Nothing worse. I'd rather deal with somebody that says, nigga, I don't like you. And I land.
All right. Thank you, Wilson. And let me give a shout out real quick to Alabadi. Hope I'm saying your name right. If not, forgive me. Appreciate that. Thank you for
Chopping it up.
Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. That was DJ. Oh, okay, my bad. I just call you Al. Hey, real quick, man. Let me say this. Since Richard Nixon was president in this country, because I know we have this whole thing about, when the Democrats are in office, they just allow the immigrants to run in, and the Republicans, they stand up there and they stop it. But since Richard Nixon was president, we've had more Republican presidents, and I'll even include Gerald Ford in there because he ended up having to come after Nixon got impeached and having to leave. So I think we've had something like 6 Republican presidents and 4 Democratic presidents. And just as under the Democrats as the Republicans, immigration is swell. We've had all kind of immigrants when Reagan was a president, when Bush Sr. was a president, when Bush Jr. was a president. We've had all kind of Republicans and stuff. We had these Republicans in office. We've had all kind of immigrants and stuff flooding the block. And I even take it to the local, like you say, local and state here in Florida. Since for the past 30 some odd years, we've had all of our governors in Florida since the time I was in elementary school. They've all been Republicans with the exception of 2, Lawton Childs and hell, Bob Graham. I wasn't even born when Bob Graham was a governor. So during this whole time, we saw Florida, the immigration population skyrocket under Republican leadership here in the state of Florida. When you had all of you've had 2 Democrats that was here, but we had all these Republicans, and not only these Republicans control the actual governor spot, they also a lot of times control the actual House and the Senate and local elections and local politics here in the state of Florida as well too. We saw the number of Cubans that boom in the 70s and 80s here in Florida. We saw that in the 90s with the Caribbean. So the whole idea that, these Republicans, they're going to stand firm and they're going to stop the immigration and this and that or whatever. History shows that, hey, they've been just as complicit in it as the damn Democrats. They've allowed a bunch of immigrants to come over here, illegals. They have sat right there. Florida, like I say, look at the Florida population. Look at the actual immigration population in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, how it just skyrocketed. And I know people say, well, a lot of that was national, this and that or whatever. Like I said, you've had more Republican presidents in Congress, and I would even bet to say that we've had the Republicans control the House and the Senate more times than the actual Democrats as well too. So they've been right there neck and neck with their Democratic Party, their buddies, sitting up there allowing a bunch of illegals to come up in this country. So I stand by this and I say that no emotion or no emotion, because I can see what's going on here in Florida. No way would I vote for Ron DeSantis. And as much as I don't ride with the NAACP, and I see them talking about the National Travel Advisory for Black Americans, as much as I disagree with what they're saying, about what the NAACP really stands for, some of what they're saying does have some validity here as well too. Ron DeSantis it's damn. He's putting it out there in plain sight for everybody to see. He doesn't. I mean, he has no appreciation for black people. He has no respect for them. That's why he's sitting up here with he's talking about. He's up here butchering anything that has to do with Black history, but he has no problem putting another group of history up here. And Ron DeSantis himself, how many generations removed is he from being a damn immigrant? If we want to be totally real about this right here as well, too. So for whoever wants to vote for Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump, or even that fact, Joe Biden, hey, that's your personal opinion. I just know, just based off of history and stuff like that, a bunch of Republican presidents, a bunch of Republican governors, a bunch of Republicans, senators, congressmen, both nationally and locally, have set up there, and they've allowed illegal immigration to also filter into this country, just like their Democratic counterparts as well, too. Whatever little minute level that they stopped it in hasn't been enough. They sat right up there. And like I say, they go ahead and you check the people that's cleaning their damn houses and working out there in their fields. Most heck of them can't speak any English, and they sit right up there. They taking care of their kids and everything else. And they sitting up here to, it's the Democrats. And they sitting right along with that BS, going right along with that. Hector can't even speak English. Hector just got over here, and Hector's making $6 an hour, where the average American be making $13, $14 an hour. They got a Lily sitting up here babysitting their kids and all this other stuff right here. They going right along with this nonsense, just like the other party as well, too. And they want to sit up here, and that both of these parties have done this with black people, and we still haven't realized they play good cop, bad cop with us. No, it was their fault. It was their fault. Oh, no. They was the one that did it to you. No, we tried, but they wouldn't let us. They was mean. They stopped us. We wanted to help you guys, but you just want. Just the same nonsense. Both of them playing both sides. I think it's together. It's in unison. Hey, you go ahead up here, and you sit up here and you tell them straight to their face, nigga, I ain't gonna let you come through that front door. And I'll come in here from behind and I'll tell them, I say, hey, those guys are racist. They're white supremacists. You come over here and you vote for us and you help us out and you go along with our politics and this and that, and we'll help you get along. Only thing they've helped get along is that they allowed us to be socially integrated, and they've allowed us to get state jobs. That's pretty much where the buck stops at. So people say, well, black people, the way black people living now, the quality of life is better for black people than it was 50, 60 years ago. Well, yeah, the quality of life for everybody in the country is better than it was 50, 60 years ago. So yeah, black people do make more money than they did 50, 60 years ago. Because guess what? Everybody else in the country makes more money than they did 50, 60 years ago. Black people still, when you look at the most unemployed people in the country, it's always black people. So I just want to understand that. So like I said, anybody that wants to vote a certain way, I'm not here to tell you, hey, that's what you want to do. But here in Florida, I've seen this play out before. I know a redneck. I was brought up to know a redneck. And whether it's a redneck from up north or the Midwest or out west, or whether it's a redneck who's been in this country for they may be 2-3 generations, I know a redneck. And I know Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis is a redneck. He's just as much a redneck as Joe Biden, and he's just as much a redneck as Trump, who was born with a silver spoon up his ass as well, too. Let's go ahead and get it to Fred. I believe you may be next. And the Queen Bee, we're gonna come in. We're gonna get the new speakers. We're gonna get the Fred. We're gonna get the Iron Malt, and then we'll roll it around to DJ and Professor and Queen Bee as well, too. So Fred, go ahead and unmute your mic. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Black Americans don't need to vote for either one of these parties, because I saw Tim Scott on Fox News. He couldn't have looked no more like a damn Sambo if he was chomping on a piece of watermelon while that redneck was talking to him. He was sitting up there just grinning and skinning, talking, and the dude talking about, yeah, your grandfather from cotton to running for president, And I'm like, any black man that will sit up there and degrade himself on national TV like that, it's almost like he was basically a public ghetto gagger. Now, with this immigration, not just immigrants, but any of these other parties like these, what they call minority, the LGBTQ QRS community, the those like the NAACP, those are nothing but extensions of the Ku Klux Klan. No Black American. Matter of fact, we need to start condemning the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP.
You there, Fred? Hey, Fred, are you there?
Should refrain
Hey,
from
Fred, we lost you for Fred.
publicly just
Hey,
condemning.
Fred, we lost you for a second. Can you hear us, Fred? I think Fred may be having some audio issues. Because I don't know. Fred, can you hear? Can you hear us? Yeah, I think Fred might have had some audio issues. Iron Malt, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you. Well, anybody, I was going to say, both political parties, two-headed beast, same belly. If those folks and when they folks and the ones that's already over here, they do about 5 to 10 years of Democrat, then they switch Republican. Most of them, these immigrants, are either anti-black, some of and some of them in these supremacist groups when they get in. The thing is saying people ask, well, who do black people vote for? And I'm like, you don't vote for neither. And if you got to be so intense about it, go and see who are your officials, state, local, government, and put their feet to the fire. If you into it that bad, and just instead of voting blindly for somebody that's there. That's the part that some people need to do. If you want to say, what do we do? Say either party. If you want to vote so bad, you go and you find out who these people are, what are they doing, and you by letter, email, anything, figure out what's going on and vote for that. If you can't, vote for the opposition. If they ain't doing nothing, every 4 years we need to get some fresh meat in. If the people can't do anything, get them out. That's all I got to say about that, because we always get stuck. We always stuck in the middle as black people. We always stuck with something. Saying it's like we can't climb our way out of stuff until we start stomping our feet down and making demands just like we're doing right now. You think those people don't feel it or hear it? So that's what we got to do, man. We got to figure out a way. Hey, we got to get these people attention. We got to catch them in their lies. And we got to start from the grassroots and getting our own candidates who's going to go in and actually support them. No more half-stepping. That's why most of them go to the white man, because they need somebody to support them. But then when they get up there, it's all about them. They go to the little parties and hear a bunch of drama, and they just go for what they know, saying, well, I ain't got nobody around, nobody really actually supporting me, except for these symbolic type people, and that's what I'm going to give them, symbolism. I'm going to give them a lot of talk. But as far as money, it seemed like other interest groups seem to throw money at them. That's one reason why we need reparations. So we can get on our feet and actually do something. We need an anti-black crime bill. People start thinking, well, maybe I don't need to shoot this person because I'm actually going to get in trouble for it. We just need a lot of things, and from there, I land my plane.
All right. Thank you, Iron Moat. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and you see, go ahead, because I know we got some hands. Let me get to Professor and DJ, then we're going to get back to you, Queen B, as well, too. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, family. I just want to bring up something that happened here recently. And of course, I tagged Toto into the story about an immigrant illegally came in from East Texas, a Honduran immigrant. And this Honduran immigrant attacked a 16-year-old girl at a restaurant in the bathroom, locked the bathroom door while she was in there, and he proceeded to sexually assault her. From my understanding, uh, just from some sources that I have, this is a white female, and that's exactly why this dude is still in jail over here in Elmore County. Is where he's at, and so as a matter of fact, the district attorney in the case has already said that he's not even trying to negotiate nothing with the Fed. He wants this dude locked up over here in the Alabama Department of Correction, and he's not trying to compromise nothing. So see, this is what I'm talking about. Now, and I'm just gonna say it. White people are the ones that have allowed these folks to come over here, and see, they not just gonna come over here and attack us. They will. They'll attack us too. But you can bet your bottom, they gonna do some stuff to some white folks too. And see, of course, with white folks, they'll make sure they try to do all they can to get justice. Whereas with us, it'll just be something that'll probably just go by and nobody try to do anything about it. But I'm just saying this to you, family, that they're letting these folks in without any type of vetting process. We don't know who these people are. They could be MS-13. They could be the cartel. They could be all kinds of sexual offenders, pedos, or whatever you want to call them, rapists, whatever you want to call them. We don't know who they are. This young lady was attacked in a restaurant, y'all. That dude went up in that bathroom. They got him on video. That's the evidence, y'all. The evidence is they got him on video at the restaurant going into the bathroom, went right behind this young lady. He had been watching her. So see, this is what they need to understand when they're letting these folks up in here. Joe Biden, you are responsible. And you and anybody else that's a part of this whole charade of letting these folks up in here, like there's something wrong with hiring Black Americans for these jobs. We don't need these damn immigrants all up in here for these jobs. Man, get out of here with that shit. Excuse my French, y'all, but I'm tired of hearing that narrative that the immigrants are needed in this country for our economy, for our labor force. That's BS. You letting folks up in here that could be doing all kinds of criminal acts, could be bringing all kinds of diseases up in here. We don't know who these people are. But I wanted to share that personal story because this is something going on right here in my area, my county, close to my county. So that tells you these folks have made it here all the way up into Alabama. There's a bunch of them coming here now. See what I'm talking about? They're letting so many up in here. They're going to soon be taking over the Southeast, family. This is why I've been telling you, Black Americans, that's all out in these other areas, all up in California and Washington and Detroit and all you Black folks that's all out here in these different areas. You need to come on back to the Southeast where we are the majority, or the majority of our people are here. So we can try to gatekeep these Hispanics from taking over out here. Because they are making their way into here now. So, with that being said, I want to hear what everybody else have to say about all of this. I'm going to land my plane there.
All right. Let me go ahead. I see DJ, we got us a troll over there on YouTube as well too. Matthias or Raphael, whatever. Talk about Cynthia G is right. Black men opinions should not matter. Look at Uganda, Ethiopia, Somalia. Heterosexual Black leaders impose genocidal laws legitimizing the death of Black LGBTQ lives. So you can always find some fool to come out of nowhere. I don't even know where this even came from, but you can always find one of these trolls, no matter what social media site you on, to come out of nowhere and just start talking about stuff that makes absolutely no sense. So we can always find a troll from somewhere.
Gang, because just listen to what they say.
Eritrea, Uganda, Ethiopia, Somalia, heterosexual black leaders imposed genocidal laws to legitimizing death of black LGBTQ. So we had a space about that, and we actually went against with those countries you just named. Navius, Raphael, Estefamos, whatever your name is, you know what I mean? It's the Spanish people, like original say. And we disagree with the Africans with the rhetoric. They want to pretty much kill the LGBTQ because they want to be gay. Now, you got the same instances down in the Caribbean where you got trans Jamaicans and Haitians and gay Haitians and all these other Trinidad, Tobago, wherever you may be from, fleeing their homeland because they want to be of another or choose another sexual orientation or preference. So you can't stone nobody to death in 2023 because they want to choose to be with the same sex or dress like a woman, I guess, you know what I'm saying? So this is why the United States is over there advocating for the LGBTQ and telling them they're giving $55 billion and all this other stuff. It ain't America stoning your own people. You know, so it's like, what's the argument? You know what I'm saying? That's your people killing your people, fam. So don't come over here with the Smitter drill, talk about it's black men fault because Cynthia G, who's a 304, said something about black men that's disparity. And Kevin Sanders is right. You know how I do. I yield.
Let me go ahead and get to Queen B. Queen B, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, thank you, Newstoter, again for allowing me to speak. So yeah, I guess, Professor, you know, I do want to answer your question. This was something I was going to say anyway, but I'm just going back again to our local politics. And I really believe that if we don't do something, whether if we just, you know, if we don't vote, they're going to get these people in there and they're going to vote. Somebody's going to vote. And they're going to vote for these awful policies, and we're going to be impacted by it in a negative way. And, you know, these people are very strategic about how they do things. It takes them a couple of election cycles, but they will do it. They will get all these Hispanics in seats of power, where they'll be taking over our city councils and our state, you know, our state positions and all that. And then we won't have any power at all. So that's just, again, my opinion. That's the way I see things going. Unless we got to do something. I think we need to mobilize. We all need to be. I know it's hard. You know, it's easy to say. You know, we all need to be on one accord. But I think we just need to start being more strategic because we have to fight back now. You know, I think you mentioned accountability. We got to start holding these people accountable. And when people start getting killed, I had a cousin that was murdered by an illegal immigrant out in California about 12 years ago. This has been going on for a very long time. And so, but I think for us to just kind of say, well, we can't, there's no one there. I think we need to either put ourselves out there, you know, start, like Marcel says, start identifying some of our own people to get in there and take control. Because again, I do believe that's how they're going to get us, is they're going to have these illegal immigrants, giving them these voting rights, and then before you know it, they'll be running our cities. They will have all the control. They'll be making all the decisions, and then we'll be sitting back and we won't be able to do anything. And I just think I kind of look at it as stopping the bleeding. I think we do have to be very strategic. If reparations is our end goal, we know that it is our end goal. These Hispanic people, they're not going to want to give us reparations. So I'd rather deal with these white folks right now. It's just as, you know, with them, rather than having, you know, more of these other people over here to have to deal with. So that's just something else to think about. So I'm finished talking for the evening, and thanks again. I'll land.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. DJ, you said you had a quick video you want to play. How long is that video? A minute, you said?
Yeah, just real quick to pretty much disagree with what Professor said, because Chuck Schumer feels otherwise, Professor. So let's listen to what Senator Chuck Schumer got to say about the illegal immigration.
We're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are.
The Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer pushing for mass amnesty for at least the 11 million immigrants living illegally in the United States. Joining us right now is Texas Congressman, member of the House Armed Services Committee, Pat Fallon. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much. So how do you react to Schumer's comments?
You know, Ray, it kind of puzzles me because if Chuck Schumer's worried about our declining birth rate, I wonder why he's so pro-abortion. It doesn't make any sense. It's inconsistent. But then again, if the Democrats didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all.
There you go. So if Senator Schumer is so worried about illegal immigrants and amnesty for illegals and all this other stuff, why? My bad. I don't know if y'all heard me or whatever. I had a phone call. So if Chuck Schumer is so worried about illegal immigrants at the border and getting them amnesty and all this other stuff, but he's against pro-abortion. So it's like, it don't make sense. If you're saying that we don't got enough people to fill certain job positions in this country, well, you can check any EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, race-based discrimination case filed by a Black Negro American. Well, shit, there's your workforce right there, Chuck Schumer. You know what I'm saying? And then you ain't with pro-abortion, so it's like you down with having the women of America abort their babies. To have some illegals come over here and work. Come on, man.
All right. Original, you got to go ahead and unmute your mic.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Peace, Black Power, reparation. Well, like I said before, with the illegal alien issue, in that book, I'm gonna have to find that book too. An American Dilemma: The Negro Problem and Modern Democracy. Garner Myrdal said that in order to maintain America's white population, they will bring in the Canadians and the Mexicans to help maintain their population. But see, their population is so bad now, they are bringing these illegal aliens in from everywhere because white people stuff don't work. They can't. They ain't having no babies, and so that's what that is about. So I just want to. I'm gonna have to find that book, and I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read that phrase verbatim, one night. But yeah, I was looking at this. I didn't pay this any attention about Tim Scott, but I'm like, I'm not voting for this piece of crap, because my point is, whether they be Democrat or whether they be Republicans, neither party has a platform for Black folks, and I just can't get myself. I just cannot get with that, because if you want me to vote for you, yes, I understand that borders need to be closed permanently. But if you want me to vote for you, then there has to be something for me to vote for. And reparations is at the top of my list. Because the Democrats, they seem to not want Black people to have reparations. And the Republicans, damn sure they want Black folks to have reparations. So, that's an issue that, I guess we all have to, kind of decide for ourselves. But I just cannot sit up here and with these Republicans conducting themselves the way they are. I mean, hell, if I have to put them in power and they turn around and they doing everything in their power to just squash us, I don't know which side is worse, because neither side is for us, and that's what's key and critical to all of this, is that they come out here, they want our vote, just like and part of the other problem is with these cities. Black elected officials across this country have aided and abetted in our destruction. Like I told y'all, you got these dumbass Black folks in Atlanta, where I live. Every time you turn around, they're supporting the illegal aliens and this, that, and saying that they should be able to come here and this, that, and whatever. But yet, none of these Black folks in this city have ever stood up and said a damn thing about what Black folks need. Keisha Lance Bottom, when she ran for mayor, she had on there what she was going to do for the gay community. Not a damn thing for Black folks. Same thing with Kasim Reed and this, that, and even the current mayor. But see, the way they trick these people here in Atlanta, they tell them, oh, Atlanta may not have a black mayor. And then these dumbass fools go out there and vote like crazy and not complaining or getting a damn thing for themselves. So that's technically what's been going on across this country. The black vote has been used to work against our best interests. And so it's like now when these people send me a text message, I cuss them out. I mean, I'm not going to go into what I said because I don't want to offend anybody, but I'll just say some of the stuff I use is of a religious nature. And I let them know, ain't no damn way you would get a vote from me. And I let them know, if you don't like receiving this message, then do not send an unsolicited message to this phone number. Because if you send an unsolicited message to this phone number, we have the right to respond to you any damn way we please. We don't give a damn whether you like it or not. So that's technically what's been going on. And your news, so I saw your polls regarding Donald Trump. Let's see, one of the polls I voted on, but the poll for, I think you said Donald Trump and DeSantis. I didn't even bother to vote on that because I just said no, because I know I already know. I'm not voting for those fools. That's not gonna. It was one of the other polls. Oh yeah, the poll about that degenerate Kamala. It was like 95%. Whatever it was against her because she too has participated in the demise of black people. With how she was trying to keep black people locked up in California, and this one brother, he received a $13 million judgment against her because of how she falsely locked him up. I mean, it's like I don't know what the solution is, but I know. I mean, for me, I can't give my vote to either party because both of them are working towards the destruction of black civilization in this country, if not the world. So that's the thing that gets me is that, okay, you want me to help you, but continually you will not do anything that's going to work in my favor. Just like I said, previously when people were speaking on Donald Trump about his platinum plan, well, hell, you read the platinum plan and the word minority is up in that joint 3 times, and they said, well, we can take care of that. And there is no taking care of anything after someone get in. If you don't get it before they get it, you are not going to get it. That's just how this stuff works. Because if he has that in there, and it is not going to change. So that's how. I mean, that's just me. With what I understand, I just cannot commit to that. And I know some people, they don't like that, but I have to do what I think is best for myself. And putting these people in power, regardless of their party and their ethnicity. Because when you look at it, I mean, if you look at it, just like a lot of the stuff for gay rights and stuff like that, a lot of that was pushed via the Congressional Black Caucus and other black elected officials on the state and local level. So that's how the black vote has been used, and nobody wants to talk about that because I don't know why, but I'm like, I mean, for me, it's like that's like when somebody from Andre Dickens' campaign sent me a text message. I called him the F word and everything. I said, hell no, I'm not giving him a goddamn vote, and I didn't. And somebody's tried to text me back talking about trying to use some scriptures, and I tore them a new one. But I ain't playing with mine. I just let them know, you send a message to this phone number, this is the kind of message you're going to get. And I don't give a damn who don't like it. I mean, because I'm really pissed off. We all saw how Cory Booker is basically trying to turn reparation into a Pan-African issue, which is not. But see, all we have to do is just, I think one of the things that we might be able to do is this. When we have these spaces and we have people from, maybe we need to start doing some kind of roll call to see which city and state people are from. And so, like Corey Bush, and we start doing a roll call, and we know that we got some people in St. Louis that could run against her. We have them to just come together, like have a private vote and decide who they're gonna have to run against her. That way, it would only split the vote once. Those who want her and those who are gonna support the other person. So that way we can concentrate real quick on how we're gonna donate money and push other agendas and get these stink ass folks out the way. Because what these people are doing, they are working. People like Corey Bush, when she ran for Congress, she had on her platform. See, I initially heard about her, and they talked about her so glowingly as if this tramp could levitate and walk on air. And I went to her webpage. She had up there, it was all kind of stuff for the illegal aliens, all kind of stuff for the gay community, the so-called the transvestites and everything else. She didn't have a damn thing as to what she would do for black folk. And they voted her stink ass into office. So that's technically what's been going on. But see, we have to organize ourselves better, and we have to try to come together with other people that have other legitimate black people who are having spaces on whatever platform they're having them on. And we need to start compiling people's, we don't have to get their real name or whatever, because we already know we got spies listening to it and watching us, okay? But we need to get some kind of consensus as to who we got in the cities and states across this country. And that way we can begin to kind of we can just take their screen names and where they are. And if some of them have a rapport with some of the people in the spaces, we may be able to get a phone number or email or something, whereby we can begin to organize ourselves to try to put a stop to this. From my perspective, just going out here voting for these dumbass people, it is not going to happen. I'm sorry. It is not going to happen. But I think something has to be done, and that seems to be one thing that I can think of, because the majority of us either have like Excel or Excel would probably be the better one to use for now. But Excel or Access or something where we can create, access to the relational database, where we can create these things and make sure that we are handling our business. Because if we continue the way we are continuing, then we really will be jacked up in the end. But something has to be done, and I'm gonna land with that.
All right, original. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Trans. Trans, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello. Hi guys. Okay, so
gets taught out for a second. But go ahead.
Okay. But I just want to say, what you call it? Personally, I think that I just want to just first say, please could you kindly refrain from calling anybody as like illegal aliens, because those terms are quite derogatory. They are undocumented immigrants, and I just want to say that, and and just we need to work together.
Like Transformers in the sky.
Hold on, Professor. Go ahead and let Trans go ahead and finish talking. Go ahead, Trans.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Newstoter. And yes, like calling people transvestites and transformers, that's also a bit like derogatory. We are like transgender people and or gender fluid. I don't know, however different people like to identify, or non-binary. So like I'm a trans woman. She, her pronouns. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, either way it goes, it means you change back and forth.
Yeah, no, we call each other up here And I understand about mislabeling and maybe misgendering somebody, but no trans is a real woman. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? You can't get that all up.
Hey, real quick, because we got some hands up. But trans, I understand what you're saying about the illegal immigrant. You saying illegal aliens, but that's still a term, illegal aliens. So that's still a term, and I don't consider it an offensive term myself, but that's still a term that people use. So let me go ahead and get to Trenton. Trenton, go ahead, because I see you. This is your first time up speaking. Let me go ahead and get to you, Trenton.
More than meets the eyes. Yeah, what's up, man? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on tonight, man?
All right. Hey, just like what the sister said earlier about us voting, I think the Democrats are looking at this as another. They try to beat this down to like a 2 or 3 cycle to just get rid of us. And I wouldn't be surprised, when all these illegal immigrants come over here, they get them over here, they get the vote, they just hit them and say, you know what, we're going to give y'all reparations from back taxes. So I think right now, when you talk about voting DeSantis or Trump or Biden, I'm just sitting this one out, because there ain't no win for us. And for the chick, what's her name, Corey Bush and Barbara Lee, these people are playing with black folks, man. Because one of the top Democrats, Jim Clyburn, he said, hell no, the reparations. And here they come talking about reparations now. So no, we ain't playing that game. One, the top Democrat said no reparations, and here y'all come. So this ain't nothing but they just playing with black people emotion, and trust me, man, I'm sitting this one out, and it's DeSantis or Trump can get in there, man. And I'm out. Peace, man.
All right, Trent, appreciate it. Thank you for coming up tonight, speaking as always, supporting the platform. Definitely appreciate that as well. We give a shout out. Not let me give a shout out, but let me go ahead and get to Wilson. I'm sorry about that. Wilson, go ahead and unmute your mic. And matter of fact, we're going to go Wilson. We're going to go Fred. We're going to go Original, and we're going to be wrapping it up pretty early tonight, guys. So, Wilson, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I didn't raise my hand to speak.
Oh, okay. I saw your hand go up for a second, but then you just must have
been a mistake.
No problem. Fred, go ahead. You got it.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So all of these other groups, like, I don't like whether it's LGBT or immigrants or Jews, whatever. All of y'all's number one issue should be getting Black Americans, descendants of U.S. slavery, reparations. Because if you guys, whenever you come up on the forefront talking about work together to do what? Because see, if that's not y'all's number one issue, you're against Black Americans. You're just like the Ku Klux Klan to us. Because everybody else is benefited off of our backs except us. So whenever you guys come to the forefront, whatever offends you as far as what they call it, immigrants, gays, or whatever, your number one issue from here on out, let's get these Black Americans, descendants of U.S. slavery, who have not been compensated one penny for the worst Holocaust in the history of all time, let's get them restitution and full reparation by their standards. Now I'm mute.
All right. Thank you, Fred. Let me go ahead and get to Original. Original, go ahead and mute your mic. And you're going to be the last speaker for the night. So go ahead, Original.
Okay. Let me say this. And to, this trans, whatever they're calling themselves, I can use whatever damn language I want to. I don't give a damn if it is offensive. Nobody gives a goddamn when they offend Black people. Now, you had when Prop 8 passed in California, there was a marriage between a man and a woman, and it passed. And see, what happened is the gay white folks, because the dumbass Black elected officials have been using the Black vote to push their agenda, they thought that the Black masses were supposed to vote for marriage can be for just anybody, your cat, your dog, or whatever you want to marry. But see, they got mad because the majority of the Black people in California, they voted for Prop 8, marriage being between a man and a woman. And you best bet believe, so the gay white folks was having a rally at one of these churches that I think was a Mormon church, because the Mormon was pushing that heavily about marriage being between a man and a woman. So you had some black folks who decided to go over there like a nutcase and extend some support to them. And when they saw the black people coming, some of them were gay, some of them were not. They called the black folks niggers. Now, before you come and tell me or anybody what language they should use, you need to go tell your jacked up in the head community about the hate that they have for black people. And let's not forget, because y'all love to come out here and talk this garbage, you know, because, oh God, I'm so pissed off right now. I lost my train of thought, God dang it. But anyway, I'm saying, you know, but y'all need to quit this. Now, I will use whatever language I choose to use. If I want to use transvestite, you damn well I'm going to use transvestite. And if I want to use illegal alien is a globally used word that is used for people who enter any country on this planet illegally. And it's a globally used term. And if you don't like it, I really don't give a damn. Because your feelings mean nothing to me. Because when I look at how black people come under attack, and you're going to sit up here and try to tell somebody how to speak, you need to go sit down somewhere. You are part of the problem. Already, you're part of the problem. So don't try to lecture me as to what I would use whatever damn language I deem proper. And then a damn thing, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. And if this offends you, I really don't give a damn. And I'll land with that.
And I support everything you just said, Original. I'm
down with that nonsense.
They were the first one quick to call you sis and all kind of things. And they're not black first. They're gay first. Fuck that. Exactly. If you're not black first in this room, then don't come in this room.
No, they didn't say he transformer first.
Hey, go and close the space. Newstoter is over with.
Yeah. Let me go ahead. Like I say, this is going to be a quick space.
Professor, you good, right? Next space.
We gonna go move over to the next space.
It's over. We about to go in.
All right. Let me give a shout out to everybody. Thank you. Real quick, let me give a shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for coming out tonight and supporting the space as always. So appreciate it. DJ, you say you got a space. You got the second space lineup is already too.
Yeah, I ain't got a lined up, but I'm typing already.
All right. So y'all definitely check DJ Space out, and like I say, up there in the Jumbotron, make sure you guys, if you have not already voted in that poll, it ends tomorrow. It's the second on the right hand side. We got over 1,600 people to participate in the actual poll, so had a pretty good amount of people that participated. So guys, go ahead and definitely, if you haven't, go ahead and participate in that poll. I may go ahead and retweet it out one more time. So everybody, I think we got 1,627 people have actually voted in the actual poll who will win the 2024 presidential election. 7% for Joe Biden, 68% for Donald Trump, 7% for Ron DeSantis, 18% not sure. So definitely go ahead. I just tweeted it out. Y'all go ahead. Thank everybody once again for coming out to the Twitter space tonight. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Check out DJ Second Space coming up, guys. And holla, and we'll see you tomorrow night. So everybody have a good night.
Peace, everybody. Come over to the second space. DJ Second Space, late night host.